Welcome to the Braves Club Room here at Renaissance Coliseum here in Peoria, Illinois on the campus of Bradley University. To my left, my two excellent colleagues, Brock Stotler and Cameron Irwin. So, gentlemen, a big weekend behind us now of Bradley Braves basketball. What are some thoughts? We'll start with you, Brock.
It was kind of a tough weekend for Bradley starting off. They had those two pretty tough losses, the blowout loss against Missouri State, and then that tough loss against SIU, double digits. But they were able to get their legs back underneath them and get that nice win against Illinois State that's completed the season sweep for them. So that's nice to see. It's going to be interesting to see how they can build off that momentum after knocking off that. They're having their first real losing streak of the entire season, how they respond after getting a win like that.
And I think it's sort of underestimated how big that Illinois State win really was, especially since, of course, the I-74 rivalry with Illinois State just 45 minutes away. But as you said, coming off that actual two-game losing streak, first one of the season, they're sitting at 17-4 now. That 4-point victory may have been a small victory, but it was a step in the right direction for Bradley. And this is going to be a huge weekend to see if they can continue building upon that win in that rebound.
Yeah, and like you said, building upon for stuff to look forward to. We'll go ahead and now preview the schedule ahead for the Bradley Braves. Brock, once again to you.
I think it's going to be they have two very winnable games this weekend coming up against Valpo. Who's the other one? Valpo and
Loyola Chicago.
Valpo and Loyola Chicago, two teams that I think they definitely have a good shot to win. So I think it's just important for them to just play their game, keep the turnovers down. They play very good on defense. Most of the success they've had this year has been from what they've done on the defensive end of the floor. They hold teams to low percentages. They hold them to one shot. They box out. They get steals. They block shots, and they have enough offensive weapons that when they can get hot, especially at home, having these two games at home this weekend I think is big because everyone shoots better at home. So I think that's very important as well.
I think if we're looking at one game in particular, Loyola Chicago is 8-3 on the road this year. They're one of the best road teams in the Valley. And so them coming to Peoria, taking on, as we said, the Bradley team that dropped 2 last weekend, that's the game to watch, especially a Sunday afternoon. Can Bradley take care of Loyola, a very good road team, a very good shooting team, as you've mentioned? Can Bradley sort of get over the first hump and then take care of Loyola to finish the weekend out?
Yeah, and speaking of looking forward things, once again, Nicole Pfaff put together a special package for us. We'll go ahead and take a look at that now.
So one of the big emphasis for this Friday game is just to really lock up defensively on their shooters because all positions can shoot threes. So
they just run an unorthodox style of offense, so they shoot a lot of threes, and they're looking to take you one-on-one to the basket. So all of our players, even our post players like Chelsea, they have to be able to sit down and play one-on-one defense. They're not going to play the typical post defense they normally do, where their players looking to score inside off of post moves with back-to-the-basket moves. So they got to be able to guard like a guard. And so that's always it's a tough matchup for us. And it's just really important that we're dialed in and we're almost perfect on defense, because if you're not, they'll exploit it.
I think with these two games, we're just looking forward to get 2 more wins onto the board and just stay up in the higher ranks of the conference, and just to keep playing together as a team because we had one of those bad weekends, and just to keep moving forward and play together and just have fun out there.
And now, guys, after that special package from Nicole Pfaff, we'll go ahead and take a look at our clicks to pick. Brock, we'll start with you.
I have Nyjah White. She's coming off a very good game against Illinois State. She was very effective on both ends of the floor. And this has definitely been the best season of her career so far that she's put together, and has really developed as a nice inside weapon alongside Chelsea Brackmann. When it really starts for her is when she can get that mid-range jumper going. Her game starts to heat up. She starts to get confidence, and when she gets confidence, it really opens up things for this Bradley offense, because she can be at the top of the key, play that high-low with Brackmann, as well as drive, and then kick out to those shooters that Bradley has. So that's just another element of this offense that sort of opens up when she gets her game playing at a high level.
I'm going to have to go with one of those shooters that Nyjah White feeds so often. That's Gabby Hawk. I think she's going to have a huge weekend, especially against Valparaiso, a team that struggles playing defense. I think if Gabby can get going on Friday and continue her rhythm into Sunday, shooting-wise, this could be a big weekend for her. She loves shooting here at Renaissance Coliseum, very good at home. I think if she can get going early, I think she can have a big weekend and help the Braves win.
And my pick to click also feeds off of the Valparaiso game. Chelsea Brackmann, one of the more prolific rebounders in the Valley, going against an interior for Valpo that's kind of been questionable at some points this season. And like I said earlier, she had conquered the rebounding title for Bradley, the all-time record for rebounds for her career. And I think she's looking to build off that going into another big weekend. We're going to go ahead and jump into our Valley picks now with Missouri State. Who do you have coming in out of the Bears?
I have Missouri State winning this one. They've rattled off 6 straight wins since that loss to to SIU at the buzzer, so a nice little chance for them to get revenge. They had a pretty brutal stretch. Of those 6 wins, 4 of them, there was 4 in a row against teams who were currently 500 or better in the Valley, and they proceeded to blow out Bradley, get a double-digit win against a good Illinois State team, and then pick up 2 nice wins against Northern Iowa and Drake. So that's been really special. Missouri State's had a very nice season, and Bryce Caleb has started to get it going the last 2 games, so if she can get her scoring going, that's just another element for this Missouri State offense that can make them very dangerous.
And I think it's just tough to pick against Missouri State because in the Valley, we know we have a lot of good teams, but not a lot of great teams. And I think Missouri State is that one great team. They're ranked nationally, but on top of that, as you mentioned, offensively, they can score from anywhere. They have size. They'll beat you on the boards, and there's no doubt about that. I think Missouri State, they'll easily handle SIU, sort of rebound from the loss they had earlier against them. I think this will be an easy win for them.
And, yeah, like I said, we're going to make it a Bears sweep. We're going to make it 3 straight picks for Missouri State. 1 stumble in the Valley, blowout win against Bradley, one of the top contenders that's not winning the Valley currently. It's hard to pick against them. Next, we're going to go into Illinois State and Loyola. Brock, who do you have coming out here?
I have Illinois State winning this one as well. I think they're at home bouncing back after two tough losses in the Valley. They're 6-5, so this is a big game for them to kind of gain a little bit of ground as they've kind of slipped to the middle of the standings with not a lot of games left, so they got to make up some ground here soon. Lexi Wallens has had a very good season, TT Magid as well, and Julian Redmond off the bench have all been key, and they're going to have another big weekend for Illinois State to get this win.
I think out of the 3 we're picking, this is the game to watch because Illinois State 9-2 at home this season. As I mentioned, Loyola's 8-3 on the road. They're very good on the road. I think Illinois State even better at home, in my opinion, and I'm picking the Redbirds to win this game. I think that they perform so well inside Redburn Arena that I think Loyola is going to be overwhelmed, and the Redbirds should have this one.
And I'm going to go ahead and lone wolf this pick. I'm going to go ahead and go with Loyola of Chicago. I feel like TT Magid, granted she will get hers, and the others like Redmond will get their numbers as well. But Loyola's just getting the vibe from that this could be a trap game, in essence, for Illinois State, needing to push. Will they push too hard, and will they break under the pressure? I'm going to go ahead and take Loyola Chicago in that matchup. Next to our final pick, we have Illinois State and Valparaiso. Brock, who do you have here?
I've got the Redbirds sweeping the weekend. They're winning this one again. Valparaiso really struggles rebounding the ball. They've given up almost 40 rebounds a game, and they really lack they lack offensive weapons, a lot of go-to scorers. They outside 2 people, and they really lack a knockdown shooting, which is something that you need, people who can score consistently for you both inside and outside. So without that, I think it's going to be very tough. Look for Lexi Wallen and TT Magid to have a big weekend on the boards in this game. So I think that Illinois State wins this game.
I think Illinois State also wins this game, improved to 7-5 in the Valley. This is your team now to watch in Valley Conference play. As conference play wraps up towards the tournament. This is a team, Illinois State, making a push towards the top, and I think they are one of the teams that are prized to make a deeper run into the conference tournament.
Yeah, and for this time, I will go ahead and go with the Redbirds of Illinois State. I think I agree with both of your points. Cam's is a great one. This is a team that might just be hovering around in that just above middle tier area and could really catch some teams by surprise come time for the conference tournament. Okay, so now we're going to transfer to our final segment here for final thoughts. Brock, we'll go and start with you again.
I think the game to circle as the Valley play kind of dwindles down to the next few games is that Bradley Missouri State rematch at Renaissance Coliseum. Bradley was on the road, did not play very well, looked very bad, got blown out by Missouri State. And I think it just shows they're a good team. You can't play bad. So I want to see how Bradley's 9-0 at home this year. So have been untouched at home. Have looked very good at Renaissance Coliseum. Have been very tough to beat. So I want to see how they handle that game again, coming off such an embarrassing loss the first time they played. How they respond to that.
And I think embarrassing, though it may be harsh, I think it's the right word. Because going into that game, we all expected the Braves to put up a heck of a fight. And I think, granted, they did, but in the end, they were just outlasted. And it's the size from Missouri State that is going to be killer for them in the end. I think if Bradley can find a way to counter that size when Missouri State comes to Renaissance Coliseum, backed with the fact that that is going to be your largest crowd we've seen all season, and there's no doubt about that, a ranked team in Renaissance Coliseum against the Braves, a chance to knock them off. I think that's the game to look at, and I think that's the game that Bradley has circled after this weekend.
And after that, thank you for joining us here. We're in the Braves Club room in the Renaissance Coliseum on the campus of Bradley University here in Peoria, Illinois. Thanks for tuning in.